What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Detroit Love, with another video. Tonight, just want to talk about what's been going on in the arcade, a little bit about the Super Bowl game, and just really just testing out my network. Been having some network issues. So I wanted to get on here and just make sure everything is working the way it should be. And so let's get it started. So, what up, everybody? Detroit Love here. Uh, so, Super Bowl Sunday, just went out with a friend to our favorite hangout. We call it the Spot, and had some great times watching the game. Great food, great company. So it was a good time. Now we were on on opposite spectrums of who we were uh, supporting in the Super Bowl. So I didn't really care either way. It's just that the Chiefs, they've been there, done that. And so, especially with Mahomes. And so I was rooting for Philly. I thought Philly had a great opportunity, great chance to take down the champs, especially with Mahomes having some little injuries. But no such thing, no such thing. They kept it close. The Eagles just made too many mistakes that cost them the game. So unfortunately, for the Eagles, they did lose by 3 points. But Andy Reid really played the game great at the end. It was funny to see. Less experienced people at the bar, maybe a little drunk on top of it. But it was like, wow, get the touchdown, just run in. They didn't quite understand what I'm sorry, Andy Reid was doing with the game. Those final few minutes, he wanted to keep. Uh, he wanted to score, obviously, to break the tie, but he wanted to have leave as a little time on the clock as possible. Additionally, he wanted to have Philadelphia lose their timeout or use their timeouts. So, he did a great job of just finishing off that game properly. His guys stayed disciplined. They knew what the objective was. Uh, when the young man ran the ball, he could have scored, but he didn't because he knew that if he scored, they would turn the ball over to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia would have an opportunity to go down the field with at least one timeout had he scored at that point in time. So even as when Philadelphia used up all of their timeouts, they still didn't score when they could have done so because they wanted to take it down to the least amount of seconds available to lower the probability that Philadelphia will have a chance to come back and win. And they did a great job, ending up with 8 seconds on the clock, the whole field arranged, the full range of the field for Philadelphia to have to conquer in one single play with no timeout. So hats off to um, Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. They did a great job to manage that game. The Eagles just made too many mistakes, turnover, um, and they just couldn't seem to conquer KC's defense to throw up the field beyond that first drive in the first quarter. So it was very interesting indeed. Um, So I really enjoyed the game. Again, I was hoping that the Eagles would have pulled it off, but nevertheless, it was a good game, close game. What up, Casey? What's going on? Just talking about the Super Bowl game presently, and it was a great time. Oh, what's going on, Damon? Uh, so yeah, so it was a great game. What did your team come out victorious for the Super Bowl? Let me know. I was rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, but they were not able to overcome the very talented and seasoned KC. Andy Reid's is a tough um, coach, so you were rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles as well, based on that response. Um, so what's on your mind? What's on your mind, Damon? Uh, I see you got quite a few new cabinets. Uh, I would imagine you've expanded beyond your dining room to accommodate these. So last time I was over at your place, you had you had I think you have a three-bedroom house. Two of those rooms were arcades. Your basement was arcade, and then your dining room had an arcade. And I know just from memory, you've picked up at least a dozen, I'm sorry, half a dozen of cabinets since the last time I was over at your place. What's going on there, guys? Late night here. I don't have to work tomorrow, so I figured let me test my system because my internet's been acting crazy and come out and hang out with you guys. Um, what's happening? What's happening, everybody? Um, so So Philadelphia, they weren't able to conquer KC, so they lost that. What up, Paul? Yep, yep. I don't have to work tomorrow, so it's what 7 minutes to midnight. So I figured I'd get on, see what you guys are up to. Like to just bring some positivity. It's just been so much crazy stuff going on in this community. People forgot the mission to play more and play less. I'm sorry, play more and fight less. Um, I did have a couple of drinks tonight with watching the game, so anything can go. Yeah, definitely was a great game. Chiefs were victorious without a doubt. Um, yeah, yeah, man. I just wish this drama would just, it takes two people. My dad always says it takes two people to fight. So someone has to just stop. If you ignore people long enough, they eventually will go away. But if it's two people in the fight, the fight's going to go on. So man, all is well, man. Just got back from the bar and hanging out with my buddy. We had a great time. Did you guys go out to any Super Bowl parties? Did you go to a local establishment, or you just enjoyed family and friends at home? What did you guys do for the Super Bowl? Did you guys have like a big shindig? I had some opportunities to go over to a good friend of mine. He always does a great, fantastic job. This was the first Super Bowl in a long time where it wasn't like blizzard conditions outside. It was actually like 50 something degrees today, which is phenomenal for this time of year. So no blizzard, no snow today. So that was fantastic. Um, yeah, the Super Bowl definitely was a great game. They kept it close. It was a the last man with the ball was going to win, and that was exactly the well. Philadelphia did get it for 8 seconds, but Andy Reid did a great job, man, of controlling that, having them use their timeouts, controlling the clock, getting it down to the least amount of seconds possible for them to have just a single play to try and do something. And so that was some great coaching. He did a great plays. He utilized some people that we didn't even know who these people were that were able to score because the Philadelphia wasn't looking at these guys like what are they going to do. They was putting all of their efforts on the known players. So they did a great job. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I got over probably a week ago, and it's just been hovering. It's like today, two people come in, two people leave, um, but it's just a number. But it's a nice round number, so make the acknowledgement. It's pretty cool to hit the 5K mark. Um, I never really gave much thought about the subscribership back in the day because YouTube gave me my coffee money, regardless of the number of subscribers. And then they obviously switched that a few years back because people were stealing people's videos, posting them up, and making money off of it without having to have any type of system to check and balance. So they made the requirement to at least have 1,000 subscribers and X amount of viewing minutes per month. So let's see here. So Paul said they were at his mom's. The kids hung out with their cousins. Always great, man. Family to get together. Um, so Damon says here, your cabins cabins are full. Have no more room. All of your rooms are full. You don't have any more room for cabinets. Yeah, I've been over Damon's place, and he was expanding all over the house. So, and I know he picked up probably a half a dozen of cabinets since the last time I was there a couple of years ago. Uh, so yeah, man. So I did get my stool, my cushion replacement for my KI Pro. I did a quick little video on that. Um, and I did receive my Tempest control panel, which since I'm off tomorrow, I'm probably going to do a video on that to set that up and make sure everything goes well with that. But other than that, man, I just been um, playing a few games. I did play my IRK for a little bit today because I was trying to update because it always says these games have updates, but even when I launch the games, they never actually update. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I played one game with I don't recall the name of it, but it's sort of like Ladybug. Brad, you probably know this. It's sort of like Ladybug, where you going through the maze and you have those walls that flip, and you can block the whoever's chasing you um, by changing their path or the path that's available to them. But it's just it looks just like Ladybug, except it just has some different characters. Monsters are all different, so I forget the name of it. Um, yeah, I don't have, I don't have a cool of arcades as some of people that has some great spaces. I don't have any walls, so that limits, what I can hang up. Um, but and I don't buy arcade games just to do reviews and things like that. I buy what I'm actually going to use and what I think I'm going to enjoy. So my game room is I got quite a few cabs. I think like maybe 11, 12. I can't remember offhand, but they're all great cabinets that I really enjoy playing. Of course, I can't play all of them. you know, I'm only going to have limited time to play, but it's always fun to come down here in the game room and turn on the cabinets now. I don't have the cabinets on today right now because people are sleeping. Um, yep, this is definitely a Herman Moore '84 Lions jersey. I won out today here, Jago. Uh, so yeah, this was my dad's. So he passed a few years back. So I like to wear this and think about him and support the Lions. Yeah, Papa Brad, I did download this earlier today, but I didn't get a chance to play it, so I definitely will do that. I'm a big fan of the dual stick games, uh, like Robotron, like Battle Zone, like Crazy Climber. So I'm a big fan of the dual sticks. So I definitely have it. The game is free, so I did uh, download that the other day. Well, I went on to the app, the website, and downloaded. So when I was playing that other game earlier, the name which escapes me, um, and I saw that it was installing. Carl O gave me a $2 tip, man. I appreciate it. It says, "Congrats on hitting 5K. We appreciate you." Well, I appreciate you guys. None of this means anything if you guys aren't stopping by and hanging out with me and spend a little time. So I appreciate that. Um, so Red Sea Gaming, what up, Papa Brad and Detroit Love? What's going on, Red? Just coming out here, hang out with you guys. I don't do a lot of live streams, um, but I enjoy doing them. I need to get a schedule and be consistent with it. I've noticed over time, like a lot of people, that I can put out some great content, but the YouTube algorithm, that they're just not friendly to me for some reason. So you guys always come by and watch, and that's it. It just doesn't get into the circulation. People I know that have 30 subscribers will put a similar video out, and it gets 3,000 views. Mine to get 300 views. So I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube, but all I can do is make the content, and with that I think that people will find value in and continue to do so. But something's weird there. But the live shows always do much better. Even the shorts, I can put a short out, and the shorts will get, if I do a short video and a regular video of the same content, obviously the the size of the video would be much shorter with the short, but the short I get, probably 4 or 5 times as many views, obviously because YouTube is promoting those shorts in a different fashion. So very interesting the way they do those things. Um, so John says he's checking in from Chicago. What's going on? Nice shirt, you say. Thank you. Um, Command strips are your friend. For he's talking about the walls. I now you can see right behind me, this my basement has these, the installation plastic walls. I do have some curtains up behind the games here, and I think I'm gonna do curtains that way as well. And I can do like the picture hanging wires, and I have some options, but I just gotta I can't stand those white plastic walls. Um, Makes it look like I'm in Dexter's in one of Dexter's kill rooms. Thanks, Ragman. Appreciate it, man. You need to get a jukebox. Yeah, the jukebox would look pretty awesome. I thought I hit it. I need to. So, case Damo said I need to get jukebox. Yeah, those jukebox definitely look nice. But my modified um, Street Fighter 2 has a jukebox. My IRK has a jukebox. Obviously Bluetooth for one and MP3s for the other. But to have the light, it definitely will look pretty sweet to have the old-fashioned retro jukebox. So Brad's still promoting that game there. It was called Skyroom, or what's it called? I can't, Saturn, Saturn. But yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Thank you on the congratulations, and that's my wife saying I'm too loud, so I'll try and she's trying to get some sleep up there. Um, let's see here. What up, Goofy Foot? Oh, absolutely. The KI Pro is a lot of fun. I love the height. Gameplay is nice. I still only have I have the original sticks in player two, and I have the ILs in player one, and I play them both ways. So, uh, you know, I'm not a professional fighter, so I can't really see or say what the real difference of the two is without further examination. Yeah, I mean, Red Sea 5 K is still nothing to sneeze at, but I've been on YouTube since 2006, 2009. So uh, that's a long time for the 5K. But again, I definitely appreciate it. Yeah, and I don't make. Uh, you're right, Papa Brad. I don't make the views for the views, but obviously I've been doing this before they even paid us for anything, right? I've been in it for a long time, but obviously if I'm going to do it and it can make some money, more money, obviously that'd be nice. It'll give me some um, a discount on my next cabinet. That's about all it would do. Um, yeah, and I'm not very loud, but my voice is very deep to my wife's eardrum, so she's gonna pick me up if I'm a half a mile away. What's going on, Donovan? Love your live streams. You should do it more, but I understand the algorithm can be unkind. Yeah, so the live streams seem to do much better. So I definitely need to just pick a night and be consistent. You guys clearly coming out and hanging out with me. You guys like to find out what's on my mind, so I definitely need to do that and just pick a day. What up, BA? All is well here. You didn't miss much. We're just talking about the Super Bowl game, Chiefs win, and just shooting the breeze, man. Yeah, I stopped by the Kong's stream. I actually was in the background, but they were playing so much they didn't even see me come in. I actually came in the first time, and they sounded like they were underwater. I knew it was my internet, so I reset that and came back in, but they didn't see it. And he started to say that they were going to play one last game, so they didn't. They never knew I was even in the back in the green room, I guess we would call it. Yeah, I need to just take a little time and just figure out how that thing works because it's pretty crazy. Monte K Matt's in the house. What up? With the new games found in the Turtle APK, do you think there's are more hidden games than other arcade one up APK files? I wouldn't have put it past it. They definitely, trying to save money by making the PCBs where they can just turn games on and off. Um, Makes sense for them to do, but this this community will figure it out if it exists. So, what up, Thor? About to celebrate the KC victory with a bath with the missus, and then building the Star Wars best weekend ever. That sounds like a lot of great things for sure. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a balance. Um, you have to, if you want to get into the community, right? Just for exposure. So that's why we do the lot and like the Super Game Room dudes. I just like hanging out with those guys on Friday nights. Sometimes I'm not doing anything prior, in between. Those guys obviously do more content than I do because they're more of news and reviews. I pretty much just do whatever I'm doing and I just record it, right? So my channel is just different from those guys anyway. From that perspective, I don't just go out and buy something just to review it, or I might get receiving free you know cabinets from people to review and things like that. So it's definitely a little different. But on Fridays, man, I just enjoy hanging out with those guys and kicking it and just talking about this stuff because I would be talking about this whether I had a channel. I would be talking about it whether I made a video. So I like talking about it. Arcades is very essential to um, my life growing up. Um, it was a place that I just enjoyed escaping to. I grew up in the city, inner city of Detroit, um, very impoverished, and so I'm definitely blessed to be where I am today. And the magic of the quarter was quite something. Now, for some of you guys, it was tokens. For others, it was a plastic card with some points on it. That gave you the opportunity to play the arcades. But for me, it was the quarter. My kids played with tokens. And there was something about the quarter. I mean, obviously the quarter, um, you could take the quarter with you and do other things with it. Whereas the tokens, you were stuck having to go back to that location, right? And play those tokens there. And the point system with the Dave and Buster's and things like that. Obviously, those are I never liked those things. Those things are just horrible. They give you these crazy point systems where the car is always going to, there's going to be a balance on the car whether it's usable or not. Where we had a quarter. that quarter could be used in any of the games. Obviously, they started doing things like 50 cents or 75 cents or a dollar to play certain games, but that quarter had value in the arcade and out of the arcade, and so to me that was always the best thing to have that the use of the quarter. Yeah, and I need to do something with the ceiling because it's just open, and that's why, my wife is complaining that I'm too loud, even though I'm literally whispering down here, because she's like right above where I'm at. So technically, she should be 2 floors up in the bedroom versus up there on the couch. But to each their own tonight. Um, what's going on, Chris? Yeah, I mean this is my man cave down here. My wife seldom comes down here at all. My daughter, she'll come down and use the computer, even though she has her own computer. This is a newer computer, so she likes editing her videos and things like that. So she'll come down here. My youngest daughter, she'll come down here and take over the man cave and watch TV and play, Xbox or she hasn't played the PlayStation yet, but she'll take my Xbox and take it upstairs in her room. We have a loft which has a TV and things like that, but these girls these days they like to be in their own space, or my space apparently. They just like dad's spot. So Thor says, my sister found ways to milk the Dave and Buster promos to buy a PS4 when they were impossible to find. Now PS4 or PS5? I didn't realize PS4s were difficult to find. I had a PS1 in the regular size, and I had the PS1 Slim. Then I had the PlayStation 2, and then I had the PlayStation 2 Slim. And when the 3 came out, I was going to get it, but I I was going to get it mainly because of the Blu-ray, right? It had the Blu-ray, but then I ended up getting a surround sound system that had Blu-ray, so I didn't get a PlayStation 3, and then I didn't want to have to buy a PlayStation 3 and then buy another one because that was the pattern. I had two ones and two twos, and I wasn't going to do that again with the three. And then four came out. I never got that. Now I finally have PlayStation 5, and I haven't really played it much. So um, Dave and Buster's doesn't give me the value for what I pay to play. Yeah, and same way with me. Dave and Buster's to me is not the arcade that I'm familiar with. And so when I go to Dave and Buster's, is I might throw off some basketballs or something like that. But it's Dave and Buster's not is not the arcade I know. So they have traditional arcades near me where I can go and put quarters in, play all the old school games. Those are the arcades I like. Dave and Buster's to me is for a different generation of gamers. Definitely not something that I get joy out of going. So I think the last time I went to Dave and Buster's, they had like a big giant Galaga or big giant um, Miss Pac-Man, and I think I played that. But those are like the only things that I can even find to play. Everything else was like, I mean, you had like shooters and stuff that I could enjoy, but it's just not. That's just not what I relate to when I think about arcades. So Dave Buster's is more if I was going with friends and somebody was having a party, or we were going to watch, say, a game, in the sports bar area. But as far as the games themselves, Dave and Buster's is not my type of arcade at all. Yeah, I think we all do. And Thor was saying, yeah, it was hard to find the PS4 and not the PS5. So Thor's wife would buy the tokens on the double meal deal night and then wait to play them on half price night or something like that. Cool. Yeah, see, in Great Lakes Crossing Mall here in Michigan, I've never liked that mall. And again, I don't know if I'm just a traditionalist, but just the layout of that mall is just horrible to me. It's like you got to walk forever. There is a cut through that you can go through, but and it was more of a what do you call those? Outlet mall where you had to really frequent certain stores to really benefit from the values that Great Lakes Crossing offered. Now, that whole area has changed over years and evolved. They have all kinds of stuff. I go over there and play top golf and things like that. But initially, when it was just a mall there, that mall just did not appeal to me. Excuse me. So, um, I think there's a mall in Ann Arbor called Sneaky Pete or something like that. And I did do some videos of that recently. Uh, that is my type of arcade. Uh, let's see here. If I go to videos and let's see here. This is my type of arcade uh, where you're, and I hope you don't get dizzy. Um, and I never really played like the race car games because those things were like $1 or more to play. See, I think this is the thing right here, that Space Invaders type of thing. I think Dave and Buster's had something like that. What's going on, Stardust? They're probably gonna get. Let me turn that music. Get that music in the background. It's probably gonna demonetize it. Yeah, they had a lot of Daytonas. They had quite a few pinballs. I've played most of these here. No, I mean not there, but on my virtual pinball or played them elsewhere. So they got a nice selection of pinballs. And definitely since I've been playing virtual pin, I can definitely play the real pinballs a lot longer. Absolutely. Tekken 5. I haven't played that before, but Tekken is one of my favorite fighter games from PlayStation. I don't think I've ever, I guess I have played it in the arcade, but I've played it the most on a PlayStation 1. But this place is pretty cool. And it just takes all it's just quarters. And that's the type of arcade I like. Didn't grow up, like I said, my kids played with tokens and you would go to Chuck E. Cheese and get the tokens and that type of thing. But that wasn't what I used. I used quarters. So I like this place because you can go here. Now there's another place near me, and I haven't been there yet. I went through there, but they were closed, but they were open because the door was open because the repair guy was in there fixing something. I hope you guys don't get dizzy. I'm moving pretty fast. I was picking up my daughter New Year's Eve, and I just walked through here. My wife was waiting out in the car, so I didn't want to leave her there long. So I just walked through here pretty quickly. Um, and I got a few different videos, probably 3 or 4 different videos, but this is probably the longer of them. But yeah, pinball is a lot of fun once you understand the objectives, and obviously if you can keep the ball in play. But I never played pinball growing up because the risk was too high for the limited quarters that I had access to. So I would rather spend my quarters on something that would let I could play longer as opposed to pinball. But now today I can play pinball much, much longer. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Halo game. there. That's the Microsoft Halo, I imagine, that was exclusive on Xbox, but they have a arcade version. Is that the case? But yeah, Tekken Tekken is pretty cool. I like martial law is the character that I like to play with. Though on my I have that on my modified Street Fighter 2, which does not, require the quarter. It's a PlayStation 1 game, and I just not cannot get martial law to run up the chest for some reason. But I usually suck at any of those special moves for. Yeah, oh yeah, I saw Halo in the video, but I'm not familiar with the arcade version of that cabinet or that game. B says I want to check out high caliber karting and entertainment at the Meridian Mall in East Lansing. Okay, yeah, I'm like an hour away from or from Lansing, but I'm not familiar with you know what's there in Lansing. I'm usually just going by. Yeah, I haven't played Godzilla. I play Godzilla on the virtual, but I've never played the real Godzilla pinball yet. So I definitely have to check that out. So I'm definitely going to go back. And so again, I was looking to see the name of that place. I did this one. Let's see if this little short video. So, so I think it just showed at the beginning. Start that all over. It's called Pinball Pete's. Pinball Pete's in Ann Arbor. So Pinball Pete's takes just traditional quarters, regular quarters, no tokens. Go in there, get change for your bills, and go downstairs and enjoy the games. Pinball Pete's is the name of it. So Thor says he remembers showing his report card to get tokens at Chuck E. Cheese. Play more with tokens because they were easier to obtain. That's funny. Yeah, you would go hunting for people that left credits in the games as well, right? Because people put credits in because they were next, and then if they were with their parents and it was time to go, they had to go, right? So we would always go looking for any credits, or you might get where the game cost $1, but somebody left 75 cents in it because they didn't realize it cost $1 and they didn't have $1. And so you might be able to put a quarter in and play a game that would normally be $1. So we definitely did that. Some of you guys are probably too young to know about the telephone booth. So we would check the telephone booth for loose change to try and get money to play. We even tried making um, slugs out of smashing a nickel to try and make it the size of a quarter, and that was uh, the the success rate was very low, where it didn't warrant the time and effort to do, because they just didn't work very well. Had very little success with those. Paul says, "I that's funny. I rationed my tokens at Chuck E. Cheese too. I didn't think my parents would give me more." Goofy Foot says, "Haha, more band-aids than tokens. Absolutely." BA says, Premier Lanes in New Baltimore has a pinball room that has like 50 pinballs or more. Wow, bet that's pretty cool to see and hear just the sounds. You go in there, you guys got a little bit of that as we walk through that arcade. The sounds of the arcade is course, they got that music playing in the background. So, um, but yeah, just the sound of arcade with the music, with the conversations, with the all the sounds from the games is just pretty cool. And that's what I like here. Sometimes I turn on the arcade and I might be watching something on the TV, and I just enjoy the sounds of all the games going together. Yep. So you had to be real if you had limited amount of quarters or tokens. You had to play the games that you can play the longer time to get the most value out of it. But sometimes someone there would be playing the game you wanted to play, and they were even better than you, right? So they would never get off in the time that you had to play. So that's why um, the operators would change the settings on the games to try and make people get out faster, because they're in the business to make money, not for you to entertain yourself for an extended amount of time on one quarter. So they did their best to try and to balance where people would not be so frustrated where they wouldn't come back and play, but not so much that they would just stay on the game forever. But there are games that we played because our preferred game wasn't available because somebody was playing it for a while. Um, and again, your arcade had what it had. If you were fortunate to be a place where they had a bunch of games, then you had a variety and options. But for some people, they just had a couple of games at their bowling alley or at the corner store. So it was limited to what they had access to. So they played what was available in most cases. Of course, all the Pac-Mans are, on everybody's list of nostalgic cabinets that they remember playing. Um, I really I went through all of them. Obviously, I liked Pac-Man for a while, but yeah, I have Super Pac-Man on some of my modded machine, but I don't know, for some reason I don't play it much at all. But back then, I guess because we had played Pac-Man so much, Miss Pac-Man, that to have something different to play in Super Pac-Man, to use your quarters on was something. And I just like the sound when the randomizer was, picking a different fruit and things, and you had to pick it. So I really like Super Pac-Man. You can turn big, and um, but I'll have to play it. I'll have to play it here soon because it's been a while since I played Super Pac-Man. So BA says the Sparks Pinball Museum is the name of the place that had over 50 pinballs. Yep, definitely had to make those things work. And I've said this many times before. I helped in improving the security of all those cabinets, because if there was a way to pop a credit, we would find it because we had so much time on our hands. So we use paper clips through the coin return, pop credits on the old school Pac-Mans or Donkey Kongs. Or Donkey Kong, we used a straw through the hinge on the door to pop some credits. I mean, if there was a way to get in there, we got in there and extended our play when we didn't have quarters. Um, but eventually they would find out and secure those things so you couldn't stick anything in there. Um, People try putting stuff on the string. I think we try every possible way, like I said, making slugs, um, to trying to tie a quarter or tie a slug onto a string and all kinds of crazy stuff. Because we love the escape that the arcade offered, to go and just be able to play those games. And then obviously they started to try and bring some of those games home, and all those home versions were horrible for the most part. Um, but I think ColecoVision was the first home console that at least had the games where they were at least you didn't mind playing, and avoiding to make the trip to the arcade. Uh, yeah, always check the coin returns for sure. Somebody was saying something. Oh man, Goofy Foot said he was robbed at the arcade when he was 12. Yeah, I'm sure that was. Pissed you off there. They were pissed that I only had tokens, but they still took them. Yeah, that sucks. Yep, human beings, we can be horrible. No, well, no, we never broke the coin mechs. Um, we just always found a way to pop the credits until they fixed it. But no, they were never broke. I would imagine because we weren't there, but I would imagine the the arcade operators would spend the day seeing the kids playing those machines all day, and then they would open up the machine at the end of the day, and the quarters didn't match the number. You know what I mean? Uh, for the numbers that they saw playing, and so I'm sure they contacted the providers of those machines and say, "Hey, these kids are doing something because the numbers not matching." Because they had the accountings built into those machines where you could see that there were X amount of games, but the quarters weren't matching that. So you can see that in the pinball machines as well. So they had the accounting built into these things because they were there to make money, right? Um, so wow, yeah, so that's horrible. Go if you had some adults robbed you, I guess 12-year-old, take your tokens. Um, yeah. So Damon, you have quite a few of real machines. I know you just picked up a Miss Pac-Man, and then you still have two virtual fighters, or did you end up getting rid of one of those virtual fighters? So Paul says that's why I didn't play Street Fighter much. It was always monopolized with better players. I went to Dig Dug and Popeye, and Popeye always was a tough game for me. Brutus was brutal. Brutus was brutal. He would catch you, jump up from the floor below, the little hags throwing the bottles at you. Pac-Man was a tough game. I did play it, but not. I was like you. I played it when the game I wanted to play wasn't available. Um, so Stardust says that's how he feels about Doctor Mario D's when you get the mushrooms that make you bigger, supersized. Yeah, guys, make sure if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. A lot of times I catch myself with that. It's like people, I watch their videos all the time, and I just assumed I'm subscribed because YouTube always shows me videos. But then I look up one day, I'm like, wow, I'm not subscribed to them. I thought I was because they feed me their videos in my feed. But yeah, if you're not so in that case, you'd be like, well, why do I need to subscribe? Because they're feeding me the videos anyway. It definitely helps the channels to grow when you subscribe, and it's still going to be the same for you. They're still going to feed them to your feed, but people put all this effort into the channels. It definitely is no doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. So if you're not subscribed, I appreciate it if you can. Show some love. That's right, Moto. That's right, Steve. Appreciate it. Um, so yeah, so I just jumped on. I wanted to test my internet because it's been acting flaky. It's hardwired. I have a mesh network. It's hardwired, but it's not technically wired because it's still wireless to this point, but then hardwired from there to the computer. But I think it was just out of range, so I need to. Um, I've moved it across the room and it's working a lot better now. But I need to check the wired and see if it's works a little better as well. But I'm getting good speeds here on the wireless. Yeah, tokens. I used to. My sons live over in Canada and across the river there, and you always have to pay a toll. You have to pay a toll to go through the tunnel or the bridge. And they used to give these tokens, and if you bought the tokens in a row, then you could save money because you got more in a row than you would if you just pay for the day. But they've eliminated that a few years back. It's like man, people are just so greedy. It's like, goodness, give people a break. They got to go, especially back then. I was living in Canada, but working here in the States. So, I had to go to the tunnel every day. So I can't imagine people that live like that have to take a toll road every day to get, from point A to point B. It's just ridiculous expense. But I understand these things aren't free and they cost somebody some money, but it's definitely a pain when you have to go through a toll road or a toll booth every day. Yeah, Popeye is a pretty cool cabinet, but like I said, it's tough, but it's fun. It's not like RoboCop, where RoboCop is to me is not fun because it's just ridiculously hard. Well, thanks, Paul. Appreciate the thumbs up. Thor says, if it wasn't financially ridiculous, I would love to get some working coin doors and have my own tokens made. Well, see, you don't need to have your own tokens made because you're the arcade operator, right? So you can't see on my. But if you looked at my Donkey Kong video that I did, you see I got tons of quarters sitting on the top deck. So the two machines that take quarters, I always just have quarters sitting on the top. Um, so you don't need to make your own because you just have a couple of rows of quarters down there, and you just you know uh, add more if you just don't want to have to open up the door and grab them off the bottom and put them on the top. So you can just keep recycling the same quarter if you wanted, or the same couple of quarters. But it helps to have at least a roll to just reduce the amount of times you have to open up the bottom to get them out. Yeah, my internet was definitely acting crazy. So I think I'm good, and I'm not going to be on this Friday's show because I'll be down in Atlanta, uh, the Metro Atlanta. I don't think I'll actually be in the city, but I'll be in the suburbs there. Atlanta, Georgia, that is. So Steve says, I hope one day Arcade One Up will make a baby Pac-Man and a stand-up hang-on. I'm not sure what hang-on is offhand. My two favorites, baby Pac-Man, would have to have two monitors, but it'd be super cool. I live in Windsor, Ontario. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I need to get over there. I need to get this NBA Jams over to my grandsons. It's ridiculous. I don't have any excuse of COVID anymore, but they had that Arrive Canada app and all these hoops you had to jump through, and I just need to get it done. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow since I'm off. Figure out what I need to do to get over there. Yep, south of the city, that's for sure. Southern Canada. Surprised nobody makes an aftermarket Nintendo style 340 3/4 scale. Well, some people in it. Matter of fact, somebody was in here today. Uh, have made their own, but they don't make it because if you were selling it, then Nintendo will come after you. No doubt about it. They will come after you with full force and do a cease and desist. So you wouldn't make any aftermarket things for long because Nintendo is notorious for shutting it down. Uh, Pole position. Okay, so hang on, it's like a motorcycle version of pole position. Pole position. That's one of the sounds that you know takes me back. Just when that sound going dun, 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 um, and then it makes that noise for the car rolling down the road. That that takes me back instantly. That day and time of the arcade. Road Rash. I played that on the Nintendo. I believe it was Nintendo or Sega, one of those consoles. Road Rash was a lot of fun. So Steve says you don't need the app to come over. They got rid of it. Oh, okay, cool. So I need to just do that. I need to get in touch with my grandson's mother and set this up this week because this thing is they should have had this a long time ago. Yeah, Road Rash is a pretty simple game. Hey, what's going on, Mike? Um, Road Rash, I played that quite a bit. I like that game. Yeah, I think it was the Genesis. Yep, the Sega Genesis. I've seen other versions. I think I have some version. Uh, I think I have the PlayStation 1 version on one of my cabinets, and it's horrible. It's horrible. I think the Sega Genesis version was a lot funner, a lot more fun. Oh, well, thanks, Brad. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm probably not going to be on here much longer. We're already at the hour mark, but I did want to just chat with you guys, man. I appreciate you guys coming out to support me as always. I need to, like I said, I just need to pick a day of the week and make this a regular thing. Just talk about whatever we feel like talking about. I think this we had some great conversations going back down memory lane. Those who love the quarters, those who love the tokens. Even had people, one person saying I think it was Thor saying he want to make his own tokens to have in his arcade. Um, but the coin doors, man, the coin doors are a little expensive, but what's not expensive, right? Uh, I always say, whatever your favorite cabinet is, you should put a coin door in it. It's just it just feels more authentic. And again, you're the owner of of the arcade, so you open up the door and get the quarters out and reuse them. So it's not like it's costing you anything extra to do once it's in. But eh, there's I just love that quarter dropping through the mechanics and popping the credit and dropping into the pan. I always just use the bottom of the control panel that you screw off if you make any mods to to the cabinet, and I just always use that. I just Velcro it down to the bottom of the cabinet so that it catches the coins for me. Um, yeah, Roll Rash 3D was pretty cool. That was on PlayStation, but I still just like the Genesis version gameplay. But yeah, the soundtrack is definitely much better on the newer version. Yeah, Road Rash on the Genesis. That's the one I like to play. Uh, Mike Hawkirk says I recently got a Nintendo 64 version, which I always heard bad things about, but I really like the gameplay. Yeah, I know I played on quite a few things, and I had the Nintendo 64 up until probably 10 years, at least 8 years ago. Yeah, Damon, I know you. I saw on the Super Game Room post about the Donkey Kong. You've had like a bunch of pictures up there. I like, well, he think he did a picture of everything he had in the house on that post. But yeah, I always appreciate it. I saw you had some videos on the Michigan Arcade One Up group that I run on B and all those guys when they were in Chicago. So those were pretty cool to see as well. Thanks for sharing those. Fast Eddie's in Windsor is out on the waterfront. So as an arcade, I'm not familiar with Fast Freddy's. Thor says gameplay in Rose Rash was way better than a game like that had the right to be. All right, yeah, that was if you think about what they were doing, that's pretty vicious. All right, Paul, appreciate you stopping through. Yeah, um, yeah, I don't have to work in the morning, but I think I'm keeping some people upstairs, so I need to cut this short as well. But I just want to finish out these last few comments. Yep, BA, have a great evening as well, or I guess it's morning, right? Have a good day. Um, Mike says, one thing I want to do is put coin doors in all my cabinets and they get custom tokens made. Yeah, someone else said that same thing. But like I said, why have custom tokens made? Just use quarters. But I guess if you use quarters, people take your quarters versus what else they're going to do with the tokens. But if the tokens are the same size, won't they work on other machines? I don't know how that works. But I get what you guys are saying. My favorite Rose Rash on the PC is called Jailbreak. Interesting. Arcades back in the day, the best. Absolutely. Good night, everybody. All right, guys, make sure you hit that like button on your way out. And I appreciate you guys. And until next time, I'll see you guys on the web. Roll the outro.
Thanks for watching Detroit Love. Please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video. We want to see and read your comments below. And until next time, I'll see you on the web.